Okay, you can see most of the players at the table are min-raising as their opening size. With these blind levels and the aggressiveness of the 3-betting at the table, I definitely think that's optimal here at this table, because when you do have to fold, you're obviously losing the least amount. Kings against tens. Wow, and the tens get there. That's a sick beat. That really sucks when that happens to you. When you lose with pocket kings there and go out in 9th place, get it in good. It's an 80% favorite, and that's tournament poker. That's why it's there's so much variance in it, because you spend all day playing this tournament to get to this point and then lose with kings against tens. It's kind of tough to take, but that's part of what it takes to be good at tournaments, is being able to take those beats and just move on and keep playing your best. It's good for everybody else at the table though, because we all moved up and made another $1,900. So this is a pretty good spot to re-steal. The queen jack again has blockers. It is going to be dominated by a lot of hands he calls with ace queen and ace jack, and maybe even king queen he may call there with. But for whatever reason, I like to fold it there. I think folding is probably the standard play, but occasionally shoving there is probably fine as well. It's always, in a lot of spots like that, it's going to be like a percentage of the time you do this play and a percentage of the time you do the other play, and the figuring out the percentages that you should be doing each is part of what it takes to be successful, I think, at poker. Like in that situation, maybe like 15 to 20% of the time I would shove it, and 80 to 85 I would just go ahead and fold it. Flat calling there I think would be one of the worst options with these stack sizes, because again I would just be playing fit or fold, and if you guys haven't heard that term before, basically you fit the flop or you fold it, and you're not going to fit the flop very often, so you're just going to be check folding and just kind of bleeding off chips that way. So I think it's definitely either a shove or a fold. Okay, so we get another coin flip here, and looks like another player is going to get eliminated. Alright, so that guy seems to be running pretty good, winning with tens and then also winning the coin flip there. So good for him and good for everybody else at the table. So we move up another spot. I think I do bring up the payout screen a few times during the final table just to check and see what the jumps are. It's important to kind of check that every once in a while when you're at a final table to see like what the increases are, how much more you can make if you survive another elimination. Okay, so blinds going up now pretty significantly. Alright, so with 28,000 in the middle, it's going to be roughly about 19,000, I think, added to the big blind. So just for easy math, I'll say the big blind is 60. So that gives me roughly about an 11 big blind stack. So if you're not real good at math when you're playing these games, just keep a calculator open while you're playing, and you can kind of figure out this stuff as you go, because knowing what your stack size is and what your opponent's stack size is definitely affects the way that you play the hands and the way you should play your hands. So I do that for spots where, you know, it's kind of a weird number that I don't know right off the top of my head. I'll keep the calculator open and just quickly figure it out. Pretty big pot here developing. Pretty dry flop. And big check raise. Wow, kings against aces. Again, that's a pretty big cooler for the kings. He gets knocked out now, and we got another big stack at the table. So quite a few eliminations pretty quickly at this table. Although you know, when you look at the effective stacks, you'd kind of expect that because a lot of players only have 10 big blinds coming in. Alright, so here's the payout thing. So we're now guaranteed 6th place. Alright, so that player just got, looks like about $7,000. Okay, with now I'm getting closer to 10 big blinds. Jack 4 suited, not quite a shove there. We are playing 6-handed from cutoff +1. I think that's just a fold, the Jack 4 suited. Although it might be closer than some of you tighter players might think. I think it's always better to, if you're unsure to, or if it's close, it's better to shove a slightly wider range than you might think is best, and to call all-ins with a slightly tighter range than you might think is best. You know, going back to the gap concept, it's always you have to have a better hand to call an all-in with than you do to go ahead and raise with. Old school stuff, David Skolansky stuff. Okay, so now after the big blind hitting me here, I have less than 10 big blinds effective, so my range is definitely going to open up as far as shoving, open shoving. Alright, so if it folds around to me here, this King 7 definitely should be a shove. Doesn't fold to me though, so I think king 7 here is just a fold. I don't have, with a less than 10 big blind stack, I don't have very much fold equity as far as reshoving or re-stealing. Okay, 3-8 offsuit's not strong enough, even with 9 big blinds on the button there. Okay, ace 3 is pretty, pretty marginal spot here. I definitely need to open up my shoving range, but with 9 big blinds, ace 3, when called, is just going to be crushed every single time. People are going to call pocket pairs, ace X higher than a 3, which just dominates. They're never going to call with a worse hand. Even king queen, even if they do call with king queen, it's only a 60-40 favorite, so it's, I'm never going to be ahead there. These 3, if these 3 were suited, I think I'd probably shove it there, but with it being offsuit, it's really close. It's one of those hands that's really close there, I think. Okay, so get another all-in confrontation here. And another elimination, so that's good for everybody at the table. Okay, so pocket 9s here. This, I think, should just be a standard shove. Hope to get called by a smaller pair. Okay, so now we're guaranteed 5th spot, which is $11,000, and you quickly move up in these things, going from 9th spot, which was like 3,000, now we're guaranteed 11,000. It's a nice payday. Alright, so with ace jack here in the big blind, I think I'd be pretty mad at myself if I don't shove here. Alright, I do go ahead and shove. Against this guy, he's been very active. He's stealing in late position frequently, and he calls with pocket 4s, which I'm not a big fan of the call. He's almost never going to be a dominating position there, and I wasn't giving him real good odds to call there, but he made the call and I won the coin flip. So yay me. So with 8 deuce, just standard fold. Maybe pocket 4s is ahead of some of my range there if I'm shoving small aces, like ace deuce, ace 3, ace 4, pocket 2s, pocket 3s, but that's a really small percentage of my range for reshoving there, and I'm probably not even shoving some of those hands, so it's a marginal call. I'm definitely shoving pairs higher than 4s, and obviously over cards that he's flipping with, so I think it's probably going to be a minus EV call from his perspective. Okay, ace 8 suited here, 5-handed. Gonna go ahead and raise it with a min raise. from early position, I think gets slightly more respect, obviously, and I've been pretty tight so far at this table. I've shown down ace king and ace jack, so with that being said, I get 3-bet here, and I just fold it. Okay, with the 9-10, I may have considered calling there, just the original raise for basically a min raise. It's a hand that plays well post flop, and for one more big blind is not bad to go ahead and take a look at a flop. But after the 3-bet, it's definitely a fold. So, 5-handed now. I'm in 4th place in chips. So we're guaranteed 11,000. First place is 40,000. This is when you get down to about this type of spot, it's not bad to open up the negotiations to start making a deal, because all the big money is at the top, and again, it's going to be high variance. The edges at this table, I mean, all these players are good players, and you know, the edge that any of them have on the others is going to be pretty small, and it's going to come down to a lot of card distribution, who catches the big hands in the right situations, and you know, that's going to be a lot. You can call it luck or variance or whatever, but you know, that's what it's going to come down to a lot of the time. Just maybe two big hands running into each other, or you know, someone has a better kicker than the other, and that's what it comes down to a lot of the time. Okay, so blind's going up again, now 50,000 big blind, and with 25,000 in the middle, makes the effective big blind. That's a tough one for me. I think about 17,000 or somewhere around there. So 17 plus 50 is going to be about a 67,000 big blind. Okay, King 10 offsuit here. I wouldn't mind a raise some of the time and folding it some of the time. So now we are slightly deeper stacked with those quick eliminations that happen with a 67,000 effective big blind. Everybody has over 10 big blinds, and and some even more closer to 20 or even 30. So there's more room for post-flop play, and post-flop play brings more skill into the game, in my opinion. Okay, so I defend here with the ace-6 offsuit. Again, for min raises, I don't mind defending these types of hands, these connected or suited type hands that, you know, if for one more big blind, if you miss, you can just check fold. But here with the queen, queen 8, after he checks, it's likely I have the best hand here, so I'm going to go ahead and go for a value bet and try to protect my hand. There's 259,000 in the pot. I want to pick a size that doesn't give him good odds to draw if he's got a flush draw or a straight draw, and also charge him if he has a hand like pocket fives or something that he just check back on the flop. So he just folds and I take it down. It would have put me in a difficult spot had he raised there, but I think I would have to go with my hand because he checked the flop. I'm sure he's capable of checking the flop with a queen there, but he can't really have hearts there. I think if he has hearts, he bets the flop. He may have picked up spades if he raises me on the turn, so he could be semi-bluffing with spades, or he could be on a random bluff if he raises me there as well. So I think if he would have raised that, I think I would have gone all in with my hand. It's kind of a crappy spot because I've just an 8 with a 6 kicker, but I think it's going to be the best hand the majority of the time. Again, queen 9. This is a hand, again, you know, a certain percentage of the time I'll raise it, and some of the time I'll fold it here. This time I go for the raise and take down the blinds. Just a good result for that hand. Okay, just stealing the blinds there picks up 100,000 in chips, so it's definitely worth going after occasionally. And with a tight image, I think he gets more respect. Okay, so this guy makes a small raise. He's mostly going to do this with weak steals, but queen 5 again, re-stealing with queen 5 offsuit there is just, it's going to be pretty bad, I think, because he's going to make that raise size with his big hands as well. So when I do get called, I'm going to have like really low equity. And it is for the majority of my chips, so I like to just fold it there. The ace deuce suited, again, it's not a spot where I just want to flat call, because if I hit an ace, I'm not going to be sure that it's good. He definitely has all ace X higher than a deuce in his range, higher pairs than a deuce, so you know, it's a spot where out of position, I think it's best just to fold it. Maybe occasionally mixing in a 3-bet re-steal, but most of the time just folding. Alright, and with the action in front of me here on this hand, I fold the queen jack with a raise and a re-raise in front of me. It's just not going to be profitable to play that hand after that action. Okay, so another break, and coming back from the break, I pick up a big hand with ace-king suited. I go ahead and make the same min raise, because I don't want to give away the strength of my hand by making different raise sizes. So I just go ahead and keep the same raise size so that they can't tell when I have a big hand when I have a weak hand. and I'm just hoping someone shoves here. Okay, so just take down blinds, which is fine also. So it seems like we've been five-handed for a little while now, and that's I think indicative of the stack sizes. Everyone has more chips now as far as number of effective big blinds, so it gives more room for play, and I think that's kind of the reason that there hasn't been an elimination for a little while. Coming into the final table, there were quite a few short stacks in comparison to the effective big blind. So this hand here is a little too weak, I think, to defend the 4-8. It is suited, but you know, you're not going to make very many big hands with 4-8 there. So I think it's just best to fold it. Okay, Queen 7 offsuit. Mostly I'm just going to fold it in that spot. Andrew Bokia now has a pretty short stack. He's down to a little less than 10 big blinds, I think. And he's going to be looking to re-steal there with probably a pretty wide range. So Queen 7, obviously I don't want to make a call there against his stack size when he reships on me. So it's just going to be a fold there for me most of the time in a spot like this. They call Queen 7 offsuit the computer hand because it's like halfway, it's ranked halfway, it's like the 50% hand. It's halfway between like all the other hands. Okay, so we get a big all-in and a call. King 6 against Ace Deuce. Alright, and then we have an elimination. So we're now four-handed. And Bokia just got 11,000 for his efforts. It's a nice day at the office. And we're now guaranteed $16,000. So we moved up another $5,000. And the way that hand went down, I like Bokia's shove. The Ace Deuce, you know, it's a really marginal call. It's a call good players will make, and since he knows Bokia is shoving there with a very wide range, I think it's a call you have to make, but it's a call you just gotta like grit your teeth and make the call, because you're never gonna be like way ahead. Even against those two hands, it's roughly like a 60-40 situation, and you are going to be dominated a lot of the time there too by ace-x with a higher kicker or pocket pairs. So you know, it's a really marginal call, but I think versus someone who's shoving a wide range, you have to make that call. So I give them both. I think they both played it well. Alright, with Jack 10 suited, here's definitely a playable hand. In this spot, I make a raise slightly bigger than a min raise because I don't think blind on blind min raises gets a whole lot of respect. You're giving the big blind very good odds to call and play against you post flop in position for the rest of the hand. So I make it slightly bigger than a min raise and just take it down, which is a good result. Okay, so now four-handed. We're guaranteed 16,000, but first is obviously about 40,000, so it's $24,000 difference, which is a pretty big swing. So, you know, the deal discussion I think starts up pretty soon. You know, playing these tournaments, definitely the money's in the top three spots. You got to get to the top three spots often enough to cover all your buy-ins. When you're playing these tournaments, you know, you bust out of so many tournaments without ever even seeing the final table. The buy-ins really add up, so all the profit comes in making top threes, and obviously hoping to get the win, but you know, the big money is you got to play for top threes. Alright, so we have a million chip pot here developed, and it's a blind on blind battle with all low cards out there, so you know, they could show up with anything here. It could be bluff, could be a straight, could be a full house. A lot of hands that they could end up having here. And ace high wins the hand, which is very interesting on that board. That ace high would take it down, and the other guy had king high, so they ended up getting a million chips in there with ace high and king high. Just kind of shows you how aggressive they are. And that's, you know, when you're playing a final table like this against these types of players, that's something you can use to your advantage, is using their aggression against them. That's kind of one of their weaknesses. It's not really a weakness, but it's a area of their game that you can exploit, is when you do pick up big hands, kind of letting them use their aggression to their own demise. Okay, so now I'm currently in, looks like roughly tied for third. Okay, and the next pay jump is, I think, to 21,000. So the next jump is another 5 grand. So it's definitely significant, and I definitely want to move up to that. Okay, so 5-4 suited. You know, I would raise that some of the time there four-handed, but this time I fold. Blinds did just go up again, and I think it's important to note every time the blinds go up, figure out what the effective stack size is. So with 24,000 in antes, be 16,000, so it'd be 76,000 is the effective big blind. Alright, so pretty easy fold there. And again, we have a coin flip Really big pot for 2.4 million chips. And again, the guy with ace queen is running good at this final table. Alright, so the short stack shoves. He's only got about 5 big blinds effective. So he's gonna shove. He's got a very wide range of hands here. 10-3 I cannot call with though after another call. Okay, so a 60-40 situation. Alright, the ace high holds up, and we move up another spot. So we're now guaranteed 21,000, and the next pay jump, if I remember correctly, was to 28,000. So it goes up to another 7. Alright, ace queen suited here. Definitely a big hand. If he raises, I'm definitely going with my hand. The only question is, do I want to raise small or just shove? And I think with his raise size, I'm raising less than 10 times his bet size, so I think just shoving is best. He snap folds, so you know, I expect him to steal there. He's probably stealing in that situation with 70 to 80% of hands, if not more. So ace queen is way ahead of his stealing range. I am in third spot now by a significant margin. Both players have more than double my stack size, so I have to gamble it up a little here and take some chances to get somebody where they're in third place, and obviously try to move up and win the tournament. Okay, so I'm in raise here with king 10 suited. I flop a flush draw, and this is a spot with an overcard and a flush draw. I'd definitely be willing to get all the chips in here. With 313,000 in the pot, or excuse me, 318. You know, I'm willing to bet call here, so I want to bet pretty big to discourage my opponent from flat calling and let him know that I'm serious about this pot, and just try to take it down right there. But if he does shove, I'm definitely calling there. Okay, so again, this guy raises in the small blind. Okay, I flat call to see a flop in position. Again, this is a hand that plays well post flop, and in this spot here, you know, I flop an open ender. I don't recall exactly what I do, but I imagine my default plays, if he bets, I'm just going to shove on him. Because I generate a lot of fold equity that way, and you know, obviously have pretty good equity even when called. So after he checks, I think the best play is to go ahead and bet, and he just insta-mucks again. So I've won a few medium-sized pots here and have built up my chip stack a little. Definitely if I double through one of these guys, they're going to be in where I'm at in third place, and I'm going to be tied for the chip lead then. Okay, and so you can see now we're talking about making a deal, and one of the guys doesn't want to do it, so it never ends up happening, which is fine. I mean, you just play it out and do your best. Alright, so we have a small raise again on the button. Ace Jack suit is definitely a very strong hand, three-handed. Alright, and we get a 3-bet, and I expect this guy to be 3-betting a ton of hands here. You know, this is a really tough spot. I can definitely make a case for shoving or folding. I don't think flat calling is ever a good option. I like to fold there. You know, I wouldn't mind a shove, but you are going to run into hands that dominate you quite often there. The button ends up flat calling, which is kind of interesting. It's now a bloated pot against the chip leaders, and you know, anything can happen here. Small blind bets about half the pot, which is a good sizing, I think, here on this dry board, and he just takes it down. Okay, so the first and second place player have been going at it, so I kind of don't mind letting them go at it. If one of them gets knocked out, obviously I pocket another $7 grand, which I don't mind, and then play heads up for the title. Okay, so here they go again. They're playing another big pot. It's a blind on blind situation. Yeah, that's kind of expected a small blind to fold there after betting flop and checking turn. I think he's pretty much giving up, and he probably has nothing there and is just check folding the turn. So that was a good bet on the turn by the player in the big blind. Okay, again, this is a spot where I'm going to go ahead and defend my big blind for a small raise with a playable hand in position. You know, I catch a piece of this flop with a pair, bottom pair, and a gut shot. And again, after he checks to me, on this board, he could be checking with showdown value, a hand like ace-10 or ace-9. So I'm in a spot where I don't want to get check raised off my hand. And if I bet and he shoves on me, I'm going to have to fold, and I'm folding away equity plus a pair. So I think it's best just to go ahead and check it down. On the river, after 2 bricks come off, I go for a thin value bet, and he ends up showing up with queen-10, which I wouldn't expect him to play that way too often. I don't think he checks all the way to the river with a 10 very often. So I like my value bets. I think I could definitely get paid off by a 5 or a 6 there, or worse 9. I don't think he shows up with a 10 there very often, which he did have that time. But against his overall range, I think I get paid off there by worse hands most of the time. He may even pay off with ace high there some of the time. Okay, so I did take a significant hit there with my chip stack though, so um, the effective big blind I think puts me at about 13 or 14 big blinds now, so again it's a stack size that I'm gonna have to shove. Okay, Jack 4 offsuit I think is too weak there. So another big pot developing, and unfortunately no all-in confrontation. Okay, so I just take that one down with ace high, a walk. So we can deduce that the player to my right is not stealing 100% range because he did fold there. Alright, I make a steal attempt with 7-6 suited, definitely a playable hand, and if I get shoved on, it's just an easy fold, but it's a hand that if he flat calls has some deceptive value post flop if I do flop big, or he may not expect me to be raising that hand there. Okay, this guy switches to just open shoving on me, which, you know, I think it's a good play from his perspective because he's out of position against me, and I've been flat calling him and taking pots away from him post flop. So to counter that strategy, he's just open shoving now, which, you know, I think it's a good adjustment on his part. Okay, this is a spot that's, you know, I don't really like flat calling with this hand, and I don't like reshoving with it, so I think just folding is best. You know, I wouldn't mind shoving it in there a real small percentage of the time because you do have an ace, which is probably the best hand, but you know, against the calling range is just going to play really terrible. Okay, so I'm getting pretty short stack now at this point. The blinds are up now to 80,000, and with antes in play, the effective big blind is like 96,000. So I've got less than 10 big blinds. So it's definitely time to just shove or fold. unless I do pick up a monster hand that I want action with, I might make a small raise, but other than that, I think it's just shove or fold time. And if you guys have read my blog, you know how this tournament turns out. Okay, so with about 9 big blinds, I shove Jack 4 offsuit here, blind on blind. He has a long think about this, and I think he ends up folding. Yep, he does end up folding. So he must have had a decent hand there that he ended up definitely probably had Jack 4 beat. So I'm glad he did fold. Okay, ace 9 suited. This hand is definitely good enough to just go ahead and shove over button raising range. Again, it's going to be in bad shape against his calling range mostly, but you know, the way this hand is definitely strong enough to re-steal with. He ends up calling with a worse ace, which you know, I don't really like his call, and we end up chopping the pot. Unfortunately for me, that would have been a big swing in the momentum, and I probably would have at least moved up to second place there, but it didn't work out that way. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and open shove. I still have less than 10 big blinds, so any ace on the button. Okay, the 4-10 offsuit, just a pretty simple fold, I think. The Queen 4 offsuit there. It wouldn't be too bad to shove, but I think it's a little thin. Okay, we pick up ace 5 suited here in the big blind after, again, the button raises. I'm going to go ahead and shove again with the ace X suited and less than 10 big blinds. He ends up folding this time, which I'm happy about, because if I get called there, I'm probably pretty far behind. Although we did see him make a call with ace 6 offsuit last time. he might be willing to call off with ace 2 or ace 3, but ace 2 even against ace 5 is going to chop the pot most of the time. Okay, so I take down the blinds there with queen 10 offsuit. Okay, I full jack 9 offsuit there. The guy on the button he's tightened up his range significantly. I think he hasn't been stealing quite as much as he was before, so probably he's taken note of the fact that my stack size is around 10 big blinds, and so I'm going to be shoving with a wide range. Ten-7 suited is a pretty good hand here to re-steal with. Plays well against his calling range, but I like to fold it this time. I'm kind of looking just for one good spot to get my chips in and hope to double up. And I go for it here with queen 9 offsuit, and I think they both fold, and they do. Okay, getting a walk with 9 deuce offsuit's always nice. Alright, and I think this is my final hand. I go ahead and shove here with ace 4 offsuit. And I think he ends up calling. Yeah, he calls with ace 6. So these hands will chop most of the time, but this one doesn't work out for me. So I hope the video was entertaining and educational. This is Pimp and Donk signing off for SharkScopers.com.